we're going to make something that is a brainstorming, a team building experiment. So it's often done in innovation, in companies, at the European Commission and things like that. So there will be 3 groups, and I will ask you to go to the group where you believe you can bring the most, not the group where your friends are going or things like that. And especially if you can be with people you do not know, that's good too, because then you can meet them. And after this, you will have plenty of time at the Grand Place to discuss with the ones you want to discuss with, etc. So here are the 3 topics. Do not look at others, just think in your mind where you want to go, that's important. So there will be funding, how to get funds. There will be awareness, how to have people aware at all levels of the society. And there will be science collaboration, how to organize a science collaboration, what can be done here. So funding, awareness, and science collaboration. So I would like you all to think of where you want to go, where you can help. Do not try to be together with someone else again. Okay? So now, do not look at others. Raise hands if you want to go to funding. Funding, awareness, and do not look at others. And science collaboration. So raise hands if you want to go to the group that will discuss about funding. Raise hands, the lower hands. Raise hands if you want to go to the group that will discuss awareness. Do not look at the others. Okay? Raise hands if you want to go to the group of science collaboration. Okay. So we will need a little more persons to go to the funding group. So raise hands those who may want to go to the funding group.
Should we put science
Okay.
and funding together?
No, I think that's fine. So now we've got our groups. Okay. So we will have Daria leading the funding group. So everyone who has finally chosen the funding group will go here. We will have Peter, are you here? Peter Ries? No. So, okay, so I think Peter should lead the awareness group. So the awareness group can, for example, go over there. So Peter, he will be at the end over there. And perhaps next to KG, I will lead. Okay, but so I will go in the middle where you are, and that will be the science collaborative group. So do not go right now, I'm just explaining how it's going to be. So it's 10:20, we will start at around 10:25, and we will have 20 minutes to prepare a presentation, a 5-minute presentation on your conclusions. So you have nothing more than 20 minutes in the presentation to do, that is 5 minutes, and the title of the topic, and that's it. And then we will have all the 3 groups present, one after one, and we will go to the Grand Place. Okay? Okay, so let's go.
So I guess the question is, should we try to get people like Larry Ellison, who sort of aren't really paying attention, to pay attention? Or should we get people like Bill Gates, who have other things that they want to fund, to change their mind about what they want to fund? Or should we just focus on the people who are already thinking the right way, and just try to find more of them? Because maybe there are some out there who just haven't quite heard of us yet, or don't realise that the science is progressing well. You know, I really don't know which of those things is going to be more effective. I have a feeling the last one has the greatest chance, but that's just because that's what I know. That's my experience so far. I don't know whether that's one of the guys.
Based on students' discussion,
So perhaps, I don't know how this happens, but it was funding organizations of the country.
Sure.
Can I suggest that maybe there's two issues in awareness. There's message and there's means. So what we're discussing now is the message you want to give. But we at some point we should look at the means in terms of education campaigns. Yeah, both things are essential, but that we don't if we stick to
Yeah.
because it's very difficult to see what the message is.
In a way, what we're discussing even more is obstacles. What are the key obstacles to people being more aware?
But if we went, is means not an easier conversation first? That's all I'm suggesting, because the message is really difficult. How do you get people beyond the initial psychological reaction where they go, that's impossible.
The only thing is to make a good decision about the means. I think it's important to have a good diagnosis of what the actual problem is.
Yes, we should not disentangle ourselves.
European commissioners how to get funding. They always say, well, go to the marketplace, discuss with each other, try to get collaboration, and perhaps instead of using Skype, we should use their system, because then we will be much more visible, and it will be also more easy to get funding from the European commissioners, etc.
So sorry to be negative, but
No.
basically we all know who we want to work with. I mean, it's easy to access, okay, he's working on that one, I just write him an email, ask if he would collaborate on the project. That's pretty easy, I think. The problem is really...
But several I'm sorry for interrupting, but several separate scientists working, how can they be connected to each other in their work? Do I understand correctly?
It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
No, I have a counter statement. I know that some people know who they want to work with because it's a given field, very precise. As they want, exchange emails, discuss at the Grand Place later this afternoon, etc. So we're going to start with funding, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay, so we thought that there are 3 or 4 major sources of funding. First of all, it's governments, then wealthy people and public in general, because it influences governments and wealthy people, and industries. So our discussion, we mostly discussed the problems. We do not yet have solutions, but still let me present our discussion. Wealthy people. So we all think that benchmarking is needed. We believe that we had most successes with people who share our ideas, enthusiasts, like Peter Thiel, for example, or Timur Artemiev. There is another example like Larry Ellison, who gave a lot of money into aging research, but he is not that interested, and that probably influences the efficiency of the spending. And there is also another potential type of wealthy people, people who already give money to some other causes, like, for example, Bill Gates. Maybe we have chance to convert them to our ideology and to get donation from them. So there is also another type of wealthy people donating. It's donation with investment expectation. That was happening in Russia with Oleg Deripaska. He was expecting some bills from Skulachov, which didn't happen yet, but anyway, this is also a source. So this is it, what we managed to discuss about wealthy people. Regarding the government, we all realized that it is quite hard to push the government to spend more money, but we still should be pushing, and if we push in different countries, the chances will increase. We all believe that public opinion is very important, so we're waiting to hear from awareness group. It is easier to get funding for specific diseases and include aging into those agendas. we believe that we need to develop economic arguments for the governments, because some governments believe that people should die early because of pension problems and social security problems. So we should really look into the problem of pension age, into alternative pension systems, which, for example, reward getting retired later. We think that we should think of taking health insurance systems on board, because they're interested in people living longer. And international cooperation would be helpful, using these multinational instruments, binational instruments, United Nations instrument, and so on. Among success stories, there was more or less viewed as a success NIA creation and the specialized program in the United Kingdom. We also discussed the program in the USSR, which started in 1980, when there was like 70 academic institutes participating in life extension program. So we believe it was due to proper ideology, because the Soviet leadership was getting old, and because, and another very important factor is to have enthusiasts in the gerontologist community that made the difference in the UK and in the Soviet Union. And we also remember the example from Kazakhstan, where there is political will, but the people do not have research capacity, and the program more or less fails, so we should be aware of this scenario perhaps in the developing countries. Regarding the industry, we discussed pharmaceutical industry. So we wonder if aging research is beneficial to pharma. Will we make everybody healthy and they run out of jobs, or will we extend the age of people when they still need medicine? So we perhaps need to make this argument. The problem with pharma is they care about things which give them quick economic benefit, financial benefit. So, but we think that pharma will more and more concentrate on developing regenerative medicine programs, because there is some stagnation in pharma. As for regenerative medicine industry, it is much easier for them to get funding, and we think that we should feed anti-aging agenda under regenerative medicine.
Daria?
Yeah.
When you will have finished, perhaps we will need to have like a 3-sentence, especially those for which everyone may want to think or vote or react. So you will finish, and I'm just letting you know that in the end it's better to have 3 sentences for people to know, okay, what should we do, what's next, things like that.
Okay. So we will also discuss insurance industry. We have some examples. It's funding something. And also we discussed cosmetics industry. It is unfortunately superficial, and they also would like to invest into regenerative medicine rather than more deeper anti-aging. So this is more or less it regarding the 3 questions or issues. I would have to just make it up. Perhaps I propose that we all do benchmarking and look into success story in different countries and different situations. I propose that we think what kind of arguments, what kind of fact sheets research perhaps we need to develop arguments to work with these 3 categories. Also, everybody is welcome to give suggestions and ideas.
3 questions, maybe?
Okay, so maybe I would start. First, you mentioned industries. Now, I know that's going to overlap a little bit with the next, which is like the awareness. Maybe, but what are the roadblocks, the political and probably mostly roadblocks to industry funding for life extension research? That's the first question. And the second question is, well, it's not really a question, it's more a remark. I would really want to focus on the European National Institute of Aging.
Sorry, I didn't understand the first question.
So, well, I first is what are the roadblocks for industry funding towards aging research, right? Like the political roadblocks, what are the legislation that is prohibiting or that is making it less easy for industry or less attractive to fund life extension research. And the second thing is I really want the European Union to create an organization like the National Institutes of Aging.
Maybe there are better people to answer that, but we believe that the main roadblock is that the outcome, the pill, is not appearing as soon as the industry would like to be, and it likes concentrating on short-term benefits. But anyway, they are running out of short-term beneficial projects, so maybe they would like to change the way they donate and invest. And regarding the second, of course, it's I think a very good idea to have specialized program on aging in the European Union. So if everybody agrees to set it as a goal, it is, I think, a very good idea. Perhaps not National Institute of Aging, because National Institute of Aging was part of National Institute of Health, and then we would have to set the National Institute of Health, which would be... But if we ask for specialized program, I think it's a very good idea.
So perhaps a third question, because we already had 2 questions, unless 2 persons really want to speak.
How would we realize public policy for search for funding?
For what?
For search of funding from different sources you mentioned. You mentioned 3 sources, yes. Rich people, governmental funding, chemical funding from different industrial companies. What will be the realization of public policy for obtaining this, for obtaining resources from these sources you mentioned?
Well, this is again a very good question. Perhaps we all should be trying and discussing this. We do not have clear answers now, but this is something for all of us to think about.
Okay, so we will move to the second group. So try to be short, simple, and we will, because otherwise we will have less time at noon. That's the reason.
May I ask one question?
Yes.
So, distribution of governmental money depends to a large extent on what people are in the committee who distribute the money, and usually they have a tendency to support the areas that they are involved themselves. So, how to get the right people in these committees?
No, I totally agree. We should try convince the relevant and influential people to participate in this expert commission, to be close to the government. We should watch this process.
Okay, so Peter Wicks for the awareness group.
Okay, thanks, Edward. So we started basically with 2 fairly fundamental, easy ideas. Which is first that we need really to focus on the extent in our messaging to which aging underlies so many diseases. And the other point was that we need to give people focal points, events, actions, people, celebrities, whatever, the kind of things that people habitually focus on. So that was like a kind of just a starting scene setter. Then we basically moved to a discussion on what are the main obstacles, what is going wrong, why are people not managing to get the message. And this is by no means an exhaustive list, but it's what came up. So first, one point that was raised is that there are many people, particularly in developing countries, but also in the developed world, who maybe are not living particularly happy lives and perhaps have a sense of empowerment, a kind of learned helplessness, which might simply not particularly welcome or believe in the possibility of significant extension of life. They might not particularly want it, and they may be very difficult to convince that it's even possible. Another problem, another potential obstacle is that increasing lifespan tends to be associated with increased retirement ages, which tends to have a very negative perception in people's minds, perhaps because most people hate their jobs. So that's perhaps another obstacle that we have. And you know, some responses to that would be that to emphasize that we're trying to prolong healthy life and really to align our messaging with healthy living. But perhaps that's not the whole story. We then moved on to what are the main messages that we need to pass, because of course if you want to communicate effectively and raise awareness, you have to make sure that you're getting your story straight and that we're singing from the same hymn sheet. So one of the main messages that came out there was, again, that we are aiming not only at longer lives, but longer and healthier lives. And to really keep ramming home this point seems to be a big priority. Another point was made that we need to focus on positives and not too much on negatives. And one of the positive messages that we can pass is that we're already living longer and healthier than at any other point in history. So this gives people a positive narrative that they can see continuing, rather than focusing very much on negative messaging. Another point that we can make to inject some urgency into the proceedings is just two words: inaction kills. And if we really just remind people that doing nothing is actually killing them, then that is, I think, a very good message to pass. Okay, from the messages we then move to the means. How to pass these messages. We didn't have a long discussion on that, but we did kind of come up with a list of different ways to pass the message. You know what they are, but it's useful to be reminded of them. Internet, TV, films, media, education, and perhaps with a focus more on the modern, fast means of communication like internet, and less on the older print versions. It may be more effective. So these were the main points that were raised. Then at the end we had quite a long and passionate debate about what to do with the I word, immortality. Is that really putting people off? Whatever we may think about it and want to discuss about it between ourselves, is there a danger that we're just antagonizing people by saying things that evoke the idea of immortality, not least given the extent to which it tends to be associated with a lot of negative things, either villains or some kind of eternity, hellish trap in such a lot of popular media.
Peter, excuse me, just you will soon finish.
Yeah.
And try again to have a take-home message.
Sure.
A few, perhaps one question or vote, one or two sentences, something very clear that comes out of your mind.
So that was a fairly major debate with a more or less a consensus that it's probably in an awareness-raising context better to steer clear of immortality. And again, going back to where we started, which was that we need to name the diseases associated with aging. So I would say probably two take-home messages. One, let's really focus on the positive narrative of how things are getting better. We are living longer and healthier, and what we're really advocating is an acceleration of something that is already happening. And secondly, we need to really focus on the diseases that are caused by aging and the role of aging in causing things that people already know and accept as something that they would like to avoid.
Any questions? So we can take 3 questions. Or less if there are less, or...
Just a little comment that this is a good point of view about a statement of a need of positive looking, positive point of view, because today opinion that everything is very good, that everything is enough bad, products, food is bad, many diseases, and people some time ago had less diseases and so on, and now everything is bad. That's really not a good point of view. And actually, such positive thinking and such positive vision is a very important statement in such public policy. Yeah.
Can I just ask, it seems that still the strongest proponent of anti-aging research come from immortalists. And the spread of immortalist ideas, anyway, is very beneficial. So, do you take this somehow into account in your discussion?
We did at some point, phrase it more as a question than as a definitive answer. I think what I would be tempted to conclude is that there are certainly a lot of people within the anti-aging community who really see the immortality meme as something dangerous from an awareness-raising perspective. But I do agree that there are arguments on the other side of the debate, so maybe the best conclusion to draw is that this is something that we actually need to continue to debate.
And I had a suggestion, maybe it was within your discussions, it's to show the issue before showing the solution. So you said to discuss about the aging diseases that people already know, and I would suggest to start like that, and then to bring the positive light that we have in this world that is terrible, but we are bringing the light. Because people are better inclined to follow you if they start with an issue that they know, and especially if then you bring the solution.
Could I just a comment on the previous conversation? And the more I hear about the I word and immortality, I really think that it's just a question of interpretation, or maybe even use of language or something, because the notion of immortality as in not having a biological necessity to die at any point, I think is completely valid. But I know a lot of the times that I hear the word immortality used, it has a different connotation. So in my mind, immortality is completely impossible, because it's a guarantee of no accident, no explosion, no supernova, no anything like that. So immortality, in my mind, comes from a religious concept. It's often depicted as something you wouldn't want anyway. It's the impossibility to die, in fact. In folk tales and in heroes and stuff, it's that it's seen as a curse. So there's, in some interpretations of immortality, there's a really negative connotation. But I realise a lot of other people just see mortality as the biological death and immortality as defeating that. So I really think it's a language thing more than a conceptual thing.
So I'm going to cut it here without answer, just because it was one more question, and to not lose too much time, so to go to the third group, which was the science collaboration.
On behalf of my group, and we are talking about how to build a scientific cooperation efficiently, and then we first raise up the problems or barriers that we are recently faced to for the cooperation. First, it is in how to integrate the different knowledge from different model organisms. And the second is it's difficult because we are working on different scientific field in aging research. So how to make an interdisciplinary cooperation between these. And also we are make a central place. It is very accessible and very convenient for the scientific, for scientists to use for the information. For instance, the techniques we are used in other lab. So later, for the second part, we raise some solutions to address these problems. For instance, some idea come from other people in our group, and then we need to establish one central place online for the as a database to sharing all the project running information or techniques, and also to share the experience in aging research. For instance, we are talking about working as a second life or aging portfolio, or Denigma, as Professor Georges said. So based on the central place online resource, we will link to different websites for aging research. For instance, Teloplace, and also Longevity, and also Skype online conference. So we also discuss what is the advantage and disadvantage behind all this online resource. For example, some website you need to register first, and it's complex for the users to access and use. And also for some online sources, it's just at the beginning part, and it's a small community, and the knowledge is limited for some part. And also the second practical activity, we are raised up to set up a regular timetable for sharing or discussing the information we are working on or projecting on recent progress in aging research. For instance, you can a group talking or club, set up a club in a special field, and also a small workshop. So as a summary from the topic in our group, it's better to have an accessible and compatible online resource for the sharing information for the different scientists to build up the cooperation for future work. And also, I think we need to action, and that is the reason why we have this conference today for the future work. That is a good activity.
So, okay, you have finished. So the goal is to have a take-home message, very simple. If you want, perhaps I can propose the vote, because I know the truth perhaps a little more. That's just the reason. So you've mentioned a few places that could be a central place for researchers to meet other researchers online and share their collaboration needs or requests or possibilities. And so we thought there would be a vote. And so the main places would be probably Skype meeting from time to time, for example, 1 day per week. And it would be a sort of continuous Skype meeting. The reason of Skype is that it's many people know it. It's really not perfect, but many people know it. And you can visualize the person and have some exchanges. And the other possibility was a Second Life. So that's something that many people do not know, and that is first a game, but it's actually has become a serious scientific place for conferences online. And so those are the two approaches. The first one is Skype. Most people know it, but it's a bit complex to use for such a sharing. The second one is perfect for sharing, but very more complex to enter. And all the other things like Longevity, like Enigma, like other things will have will find their place in it, perhaps be specialized for bioinformatics databases. But we would like to vote, if possible today, on this. So who thinks that Skype is better and who thinks that Second Life is better?
Excuse me, why better or worse? Why not have both? I think we have to expand our internet presence on all venues. I think we should have both.
Okay, so the questions will come just after, and we will start with it, and perhaps yes. But just if we want to choose, have one central place, then who would prefer Second Life? Let's start like that. Okay, you may abstain if you don't know, but partly there are a lot of people and who seem to be good with this. And who prefer a Skype meeting? Okay, so far it seems that Second Life wins if there was a choice to make based on a very small audience. And yes, so first question by, sorry, so now we have two questions. So Ilya and Didier.
So yeah, the question was why even have a vote. I think we absolutely have to have all web platforms we can use. Skype, Second Life, whatever there is. I mean, the more internet presence we have, the wider our message is spread. That's all. If we set certain meetings, which is just to see what people have access to this means, and just announce, and whoever wants to join those platforms as well. Yeah.
Didier was the second person.
Yeah, just I didn't vote because I don't think it's here. The important thing is we want to communicate more, and of course if it is by Skype, if it is by Google Hangout or by Second Life, I don't care. So just to find something that most people can use. That's the first aspect. But for me, a very important aspect is also this idea to have a central place where you can have access not to the information, but to link to the information about aging. And for me, something important to say is, well, it's not only about research, it's also a little bit about political aspect, but that everywhere where there are public funds concerning aging, it should be an obligation to have also, after that, the information available online. Because it's a crazy situation that very often you have research funded by public authorities and the results are not public.
Do you want to answer, or Alexandra, yes, you want to give here?
I can give my idea, my personal idea, because I just newly recruited PhD student working in C. elegans and for the aging research. Based on my own personal experience, I think online resource is really good and it's very open to the public and also always available. But the problem is the information online, you are always overwhelmed by the abundant, a lot of information, and which one you want to use is different for different people. So you are preferred. So it depends on the preference for the people. You are always look into for the information. So I think it's good to have a diverse community online resource for the aging research, but it has also set up a central place for the sharing information, so most of the people can know that and can share the information on that website, and you can also know to other websites and know more information. That's it. Thank you.
So I think that the other questions seem to be not so important, so if we want to go now, it's perhaps a good time. So please be sure